Welcome back to the Automation Podcast. My name is Shawn, and this week on the show, I meet up with Frank Jakubec from Balluff to learn all about their new BVS Identsensor. Now, before we jump into that, a quick word from our sponsor, theautomationschool.com. That's where I teach courses on control logics, compact logics, panel view plus, VUSC, S7 PLCs, and more. So if you or someone you know needs training in those products, please ask them to reach out to me. You can either use the contact link or the phone number right on the top of the website. Frank, thank you for coming on the Automation Podcast. I'm really looking forward to learning about these new products. But before we jump into that, first, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Hello, everybody. Here is Frank Jakubec, the product marketing manager for Balluff Americas. And I will be happy to share with you news about our new product release.
And with that, let's go ahead and jump right into it because I'm excited. I know I covered it in the morning news show and I was looking over all the specs on it. It looked like a really interesting product. So take it away.
Shawn, thank you very much. And I'm happy to be here. And before I will jump directly to our new product release, I would like to tell you something about Balluff in general. Because I can imagine that there are still many people who doesn't know anything about Balluff. So Balluff is really a technological company which has a wide range of products and technological solutions on the market. So Balluff is focusing on high quality industrial products and automation solutions. Including the sensors, machine vision, networking, connectivity, and as well as compatible accessories. But today, I would like to give you more details about our new products in optical identification group. And in general, the optical identification is the area where Balluff is focusing more and more, and it's very important segment where we see really huge potential. And today we are offering the code readers and accessories for standard and of course mostly industrial applications, which includes the stationary and handheld scanners. But why we are offering and why we started with this solution, the motivation is really simple, I would say, because traceability is naturally a growing market, and we see there two main way how to do traceability. The first of all is, of course, RFID, radio frequency identification technology. And this is already really great business for Balluff. And the second way how to do traceability is to do thanks to optical identification. And we recognized that there is a big change. First of all, there is the discontinuation of laser readers, and the vision readers and vision scanners are coming to the place. And this is the way why we are coming there, because actually Balluff acquired a couple of years ago a company Matrix Vision, which is a German company. And we focus for industrial cameras. And so it was pretty simple to develop a new product in this range. So this was one of the reasons. Another motivation is that customer requirements and networks is becoming more and more complex. So there is a reason and a request to be compatible with all of these networks. And also, we cannot forget that it has to be very easy to use. So we need to be sure that the products for scanning the codes has to be a plug and play solution.
What is the reason for the discontinuation of laser readers? Is it just cost, or is there something else behind it?
But first, a word from our sponsor, theautomationblog.com. Did you know I took the first 5 seasons of the Automation Minute and Show and I compiled all of those videos? That's over 270 videos and over 29 hours of video. And I compiled it into a video collection, which you can pick up for just $35 on USB. Or if you prefer digital, you can get it for $30 with a lifetime streaming and downloads. And this is a great way to support the Automation Podcast and the Automation Blog and our other shows. So if you're interested, please visit theautomationblog.com/TAB1.
It's more about the codes itself. So codes are becoming more complex, and they are able to hold and bring more informations. So 2D codes can have more options, which can be inside of the code, more information inside of that. And because of that, it's easier to use these vision scanners.
Oh, that makes sense because the laser reader does a very single dimension type of scan
Oh,
across an
yes,
area,
yes,
and it just gets a
exactly.
regular barcode, whereas
Exactly.
a little camera, a vision reader,
Mm-hmm.
can capture that 2D just like we do with our phones with the QR codes, can capture that 2D image, and like you said, so much more information. So okay, that makes sense to me.
And this is really great questions which you bring, because um, it, it yes, today there are so many different codes on the market, and I would say there are 20 to 30 most common, and there are big difference in these codes. Some of them, it depends on the information which can be held by the code. You can just get information like numbers, letters, or the full ASCII, yeah, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And it, the codes itself, they can have also different data which can be encoded. And another way how you can differentiate it, these codes, is also size of the label. So you can imagine that laser based scanners can be very difficult to configure that, and they are limited to mostly 1D code scanning. So with vision-based scanners, you will get more flexibility, first of all, and second of all, usually you have to be sure that all of these codes can be read it. Yeah? The user doesn't want to do difficult configuration or even programming to be able to scan all of the different codes. So this is the most important. And I can just ensure you that Balluff has all of the products which can scan all of these type of codes.
Yeah, and for our audio only audience, I mean, I think we're all familiar with Pharma code, code 128, UPC.
Mm-hmm.
Those are our standard, barcodes that we're used to. And then, of course, we have all the post, like mail barcodes, right? Like we see on the
Mm-hmm.
U.S. Post and other places. But one of the things that I don't think a lot of people have seen is, like, we all know what a QR code are, but there's also data matrix, there's also Aztec, there's also Maxi code. So there's a lot of different 2D codes. And then you have these down on the bottom right, which I'm not even familiar with, like PDF 417.
Correct, correct. And sometimes I have to say I am not familiar with the details of the code, but it's usually customer knows, or they already have predefined the type of code which has to be scanned. So you need to just bring the product which is capable of doing that. Or there is also other markets like logistics where sometimes you are able to get it many different type of codes on one production line or conveyor belt, and you don't have time to reconfigure these codes or code readers. So you need to be sure that the product is able to scan it automatically.
Yeah, if you're manufacturing something, you typically get to choose the code. But if you're in warehousing or logistics, you're going to have a lot of different codes. I'm with you.
Yeah. And Shawn, so here right now on the screen, you can see just different type of code readers, which Balluff has in portfolio. On the left side, it's a standard flexible and portable code readers, handheld scanners. And there are many different options. You can have the Bluetooth version or RS-232 connection, USB connection. You need to be sure that the IP is high enough that you are able to handle sometimes very I would say difficult conditions in production. So IP65 has to be as a basic, and you need to be sure that the quality is high enough. So for protection, customers are very often asking that it has high quality. So for example, our product has usually up to 50 drops from 2 meter to concrete.
Nice.
Yeah. But today I would like to focus more on the right side of the screen, where is our stationary sensors. And we have there two completely new products, BVS Identsensor USB and BVS Identsensor. And this is our main product, which I would like to share it with you today. But before I will jump to that, just a couple of sentences about our USB version of stationary sensor. It's the product where it's really simple to use. So there is USB connection. You will just plug in, and you can very easily configure that, and it can read all of these codes which I shared a couple of minutes ago without any configuration. So this is really nice and simple product. But I know that you love technology, so I would like to show you, and the reason why we are here is to show you the main product, Identsensor, which this is really product for future automation. I'm saying that. And why I think that is true is that it has many technical features which are unique on the market. First of all, you have really single button, so it's for auto setup. You will just push the button, and it will do automatic focus, setting of the lighting, detect the QR code or any type of code which is on the range of area of interest, and it will read it automatically. So this is the simple configuration. But of course, it's not so easy very often. Customer has, for example, different type of codes, or you need to enhance and modify the setting. So you can modify it thanks to simple sensor app, which is a web browser based configuration. So you don't need to install anything to your laptop, to your PC, and you will just configure that. And it includes liquid lens, so you can do autofocus. There are two different lighting inside of the code reader, and it includes the manual setting and analysis. So everything is inside of the product. And also, I would like to mention that we don't want to invent the wheel again. So instead of developing our even algorithm for code reading, so we take what is available on the market, and it's really high quality, which is the Halcon library from MVTech. It has really nice code analysis, which is great, and we like it. We cooperate with the company already many years. And now I'm coming to more USP, a unique selling proposition of the product, which is IO-Link. And this is really first product on the market for code reading, which you can connect directly to IO-Link network. So you can configure it through IO-Link. For those who doesn't know IO-Link, I'm saying this is like USB connectivity for industrial automation.
Yeah, I mean, IO-Link is very hot right now, and it's super simplifies getting the data from the camera.
Correct. Yes. And even configuration, if you want to place the new products or put it more code readers together, you can plug in very simple through one cable, but I will show you later on.
Okay.
Another very unique point is that you can get more data provision through MQTT and REST API. And the reason why and what you want to get it through the MQTT is that you can have condition monitoring. You have it inside of the code reader. You have condition monitoring. So it's included, and you can get many different type of like temperature, inclination, quality of the code. These parts you have it inside of this product, and this is unique. This is really unique.
No, that's great too, especially now that, and I'm sure we'll talk about this more, now that it has that condition monitoring features built in. It's not just giving you the code, but it's giving you more information. That's really big. So now you have up on the screen the sensor app, and I'm assuming you connect via this is an IP address. So you plug it into Ethernet, it has an IP address, and you pull this up in your browser?
Yes, exactly. So you don't need to configure or install anything. You will just open your web browser, and through IP address, you will log in to the code reader. And on the right side, you can see configuration and setup and monitoring setup, which you will define, for example, which type of code you want to read it. Or you can just click on auto setup. So the code reader will find it out by itself. The code will find which type of code it is and is able to give you, based on the standard, for example, the quality of the code.
Now, something the audio audience won't see is that on the screen, there's this Balluff label, and it has both a data matrix and a code 128 barcode on it. And so you have both of those checked on the right-hand side, and the reader is actually reading back both of those codes that are on that one label.
Thank you, Shawn, for describing that. And now I would like to jump to tell you something more about the code itself, because there are not, I would say, simple paper labels, which is very easy to read it, but there are technologies like inject marking, laser marking, or dot pinned codes, which are really not easy to read it. Usually, what does it mean even? It means that these codes are usually part of the product. So as the name described, it's laser marked and it's part of the product. But when you are in automotive, you very often get it lots of shiny and glossy parts, which are not really easy to read it. But our algorithms is really enhanced that we are able to read all of these options. And if there are very difficult parts which are very glossy, for example, we have many accessories like filters or external lighting, which you can combine and connect directly from the code reader, and you can trigger this lighting from the code reader to get it the better setting, enhanced very glossy parts, and to be able to read all of these codes.
Yeah, and these are for the audio audience. These are on part markings. either laser etched or dot peen, and some of them look a little sketchy, but it's good that your reader can read these as well, because these are tough applications. Just looking at them, especially the one on the bottom left, you can see some of these are not as clean as a label would be.
Yes, yeah, exactly, and sometimes they are even they need to be converted or inverted codes. So you have white codes on dark black parts, and some code readers have difficulty to read these codes. So I can just prove, and we can test it, these codes as well, that we are able to read them as well without problem.
Nice.
And now I would like to tell you something about how to integrate the code reader. So there are, I would say, 3 basic ways of integration. So first, the simplest one is with Ethernet cable. So thanks to TCP/UDP, directly you will connect this, and it's really simple integration. Second, and I would say the most used option, is the IO-Link. Is the most common. And really, the way we are pushing the automation is to use IO-Link, as it is a really nice value add to this product and the automation world. And the third one, and this is really for customers who are cutting edge. So you can plug in the code reader to IO-Link master, and the same way, both way, you can plug in also, thanks to MQTT and REST API, you can connect simultaneously the product to the cloud, to MQTT broker, which means that you can get more data and information from the code reader, not just code itself, but you are able to share more information regarding condition of the product, condition of the machine, and share it externally and analyze the data.
Now, let me ask you some questions on this slide, first of all. Now, the first option, TCP UDP, right? So I understand I would probably plug into this to configure it with the web browser initially, right? But it would seem like when you're saying TCP UDP, you're not talking field buses. You're talking really communications, for the most part, would be to a computer. I know many PLCs out there support native TCP UDP sockets and whatnot, but when we talk Ethernet, we're not talking field buses, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that we will not have it, and it's under development. So another options are coming as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when we get to the center one where we're doing IO-Link, which I think is what most people would gravitate towards, I noticed that you go in IO-Link to your master, but you still have the engineering tool. So does the engineering tool, is it able to, if it's sitting on the Ethernet field bus, it can get through your master and get right to the device and configure it?
Yeah. So Balluff engineering tool, it's really, it's called like IODD, which is IO-Link device description. And it's the standard which each IO-Link device enable to configure the device.
Okay.
So
so it's not the web page, it is the
Yeah.
engineering tool, which would be use the IODD like you would with any device. And then on the right side, I just think it's excellent that it can do IO-Link and simultaneously MQTT. That's a great feature, because that way you can send the data out of it without trying to connect your MQTT broker to your controls engineering and control network, because your field bus, because that needs to be very secure. Whereas the data this thing spits out to MQTT, that doesn't have to be as secure as your PLC network. So that is very cool.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, for the comment. Yes, this is really, really nice. And so what actually each condition monitoring, you can get it from the code reader. So it's part of Balluff SEMS, which is Smart Automation and Monitoring System. And it was developed by Balluff to enable you to monitor entire processes across machines. And you can just configure your individual sensors. And yeah, the Identsensor is part of it. And when you have a look on the chart on the screen, you can see that Identsensor is the sensor which has the almost or most of the options regarding the features. So you can read it, the features like vibration, inclination, temperature, humidity, etc., etc., like signal quality, LED diagnostic. All of these options are able to get it through the code reader. And as a Balluff, we see really great future in condition monitoring, because the data, it's like we are saying, it's like a new gold. Yeah, the data is the one of the most important for future automation. And it's not only the Identsensor which is capable to do that, but we have another options in sensor line, like inductive sensors, photoelectric sensors, and linear position sensors. But in RFID, we have the same option. And in networking, IO-Link masters and hubs are also capable to do the condition monitoring. So we are really building a huge network of products which are capable to do condition monitoring, and it's just included. Of course, you don't need to use it, but if you will find out in a couple of months or years that you need to get more proper analysis of your machine, you can just edit these features.
You know, I just think it's amazing that these sensors are now coming with this. I mean, as you know, thinking about my SCADA system, it'd be like, well, if any of these things stop vibrating, because most of the time these sensors are mounted someplace where they're not going to vibrate too much, and so I'd be alarming if any of my sensors stop vibrating, you know, past or the temperature gets above what I would think would be normal. You know, I'd have alarms on my, you know, that means something's really wrong out there, and you know, it's just amazing that our photo eyes and our little vision systems, our cameras and readers are going to have all this information in them. It just opens up so many applications and neat things you can do.
Yeah. And for your audience, what can be also the most important is when, where, and how to order the products. So good news, it's everything is in stock, which from last year and last years is a bit surprising. But our supply chain is stable today, so we have the products in stock. And yeah, I will be. I am happy to share the information also about the pricing. So the cost of a single product is $1,300, which I really think that is really nicely set it when you think of which features the product has.
Yeah, and let's talk about the differences between the two products, the BVS 0060 and the 0061. It looks like it's on the lighting side. Can you talk about that?
IR range. So it's used in areas where you want to protect, for example, workers. You don't want to be flashed by light, and or the conditions are more complex and difficult for code reading itself.
Excellent. Thank you for explaining that.
And this is the end. And I thank you for your attention to hear more information about our products of Code Reader. And if you would like to test the product you want to discuss about your application, feel free to contact me or your local sales engineer, which Balluff has around the whole USA.
Well, Frank, thank you for coming on the show. I remember when I saw this come out, when it was announced, I'm like, this is a really cool product. So I really appreciate you coming on and walking us through it. And can't thank you enough for introducing us to this product.
Shawn, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here. And I believe that this is not the last time when we met, and that we will be able to share with you some new cool products which we are working on.
Yeah, please. We'd love to have you back on the show. You guys have so many great products. So thanks again, Frank. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I want to thank Frank for coming on the show and bringing us up to speed on the BVS Identsensor. With that said, if you did enjoy this show, please consider giving us a like and a sub. And if you're listening to the audio edition, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It really helps us find more listeners and more vendors to come on the show. With that, if you want to follow me or keep in touch, you can do so over at automation.locals.com. And I want to thank the Automation School for sponsoring this episode. Learn about all my training courses over at theautomationschool.com. With that, I want to wish you all a very happy, safe, and healthy week. And until next time, my friends, peace.